I think if I had to pick one of the reasons why I would go into a stream and then leave without it being kind of like a fundamental thing, like audio or, video, or their stream is grainy or I can't understand what they're saying, whatever. I think that the one obscure thing that would really drive me away is if they didn't have any panels. Like if I just came in and it just said, oops, there's nothing here. There's just something about there not being any panels that just really drives me crazy. Hello everyone, my name's Ivory. I am the founder of Twitch Streamers and Networking. I also stream on Twitch. I make videos on YouTube. You'll see me a lot on Twitter. I still haven't quite figured out Instagram yet, but that's next. And today we're going to talk about 10 things that you may or may not be doing that could be the reason why your stream is failing to grow. So these are in no particular order, but a couple of them that are notable, honorable mentions, if you will, that I want to address first. The two biggest things that I want to address first, because the whole panel thing is like my personal thing and I can only speak for myself. The first one that I will mention that I feel is one of the most important things is your mic sucks. You're using your headset mic, you are not using proper filters. I can hear baby crying in the background. I can hear dog barking 2 doors down. It is so crucial for you to get rid of those things. It's one of the #1 things on Twitch. I think I can actually speak for a lot of people when I say that having poor audio will pretty much drive just about anyone away. If you can't go out and afford a blue microphone or something crazy like an Aston, that's fine. It's totally fine. There are some really affordable microphones that are great to start off with. I started off streaming for I think 2 years or a year and a half at least with a Blue Snowball. They're extremely affordable and they work great. The only thing with the Blue Snowball is you do have to mess with the filters a little bit to make sure that your noise gate is good, your compression is good so you're not peaking. You do have to kind of do a few things, but those are really easy videos to find. The second thing that I think can be a really big issue is that your camera is huge. Now, I'm not gonna get into the whole, idea that some people do stream with a really large camera overpowering their gameplay, or the camera is more focused on them, or they're doing just chatting or podcasts or music or anything that requires your camera to be full size, because that's a completely different issue. I'm talking about when you're playing a game and your camera takes up the entire bottom left, right, top, whatever corner of your screen, like a good quarter of your screen. It is way too big. It is really distracting. It's obscuring your game. I see it all the time, and it's one of the #1 things that I actually bring up when I do stream coaching for Twitch Streamers and Networking. And I tell people your camera is just so big. Make a screen for in between games if you play something like League of Legends or PUBG or whatever, where you're in between games sometimes and your camera can become larger. But when you're doing your gameplay, make sure that your camera is not only small enough to where the camera is no longer the focal point and the game is the focal point, but also make sure your camera doesn't always have to be in the corner. It can be up a little bit, it can be on the top, it can be on the left, on the right. Make sure that it's not obscuring the game that you're playing, and create different scenes for different games so you're not covering up any vital information of the actual game. The third point is you don't consume enough content. So if you have no idea what people want on Twitch by consuming content that is relevant and what people actually enjoy watching, how could you possibly know what you should be doing or along the lines of what you should be doing in a similar style or something that kind of grasps the idea of what the culture is like on the platform you're trying to create on? If you want to be a great YouTuber, consume tons of YouTube content. If you want to be a great streamer, consume tons of streaming content. And not just the top 1%. Consume content all up and down the ladder, from people who have 0 viewers and you can see what they're doing that you wouldn't like to see and you want to maybe not do that, and consume content from people who have thousands of viewers so you know what you can do better. The 4th point is your overlay is insane. Now, this is one of those things where people are going to say, well, my overlay's been crazy with all these shooting stars and the emotes fly everywhere and I have all those little critters running across the screen that have, you know, for each person in chat, it has their name. I have a lot of great friends who have amazing streams and are great people, but I just can't watch their stream because it's too crazy. I know people who have gotten partnered and their stream is just content vomit. But that is a niche. That is a niche. In the words of Harris Heller, that is the exception to the rule. That is not the rule. Don't try to be the exception. Try to be the rule, especially if you're just starting off. Follow the rule so you can get an idea of what works best, and as you go along you can make changes that may end up putting you into the exception. God, this is a huge one. This is another one that I bring up constantly to the people that I do coaching for. You don't put enough time into actually improving your stream and seeing what you're doing wrong and doing it better, and you think you can just stream for 8 to 12 hours 7 days a week and that you're gonna grow. The only thing that's going to happen, other than maybe tiny flicks of moderate growth, is you're going to burn yourself out completely. You're going to burn out mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Done. You're going to want to quit streaming. If you've been streaming for years to 0 people, you need to make a change. If you've been streaming for a couple of months, maybe like a month or two to like 0 to 2 people, and you don't know how to take the next step, that's different. But if you have not ever seen a single person return to your community and you've been streaming for 6 months, a year, 2 years plus, you need to make a change. You are responsible for finding out what you need to do better. So if you're spending all this time streaming, you're not spending any time figuring out how you can improve. My suggestion to new and growing streamers, I don't really like to say small streamers because it feels like a backhand, because small is relative. My suggestion to new and growing streamers that are not partner yet is to cut your stream down to 3 to 4 days a week, and maybe between 2 and 4 hours a day that you stream, depending on what game you play. Like if you play League of Legends, obviously you're going to want to play more than just, 2 or 3 games. But that still applies. You're going to want to completely condense your streaming time down to this ball right here that you can keep consistent. I have no idea how new people can stream to 0 viewers, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't know how you do it. If you do that, please leave in the comments below how you keep your mental, because I couldn't do it. Number 6, this one's a little bit more obscure, a little bit more ethereal, but you have no focus. So it's different if you are like a variety streamer, obviously, like you have different focus, but every stream should have a focus. You can be a variety streamer, but your focus could be story-based games. So, you're a variety streamer as in you stream one story-based game all the way through this week, and then the next week you do it, and the next week. And that's still a single focus. You still have a guided focus. And I think that my suggestion to variety streamers is always that you should pick 3 games max that you cycle in between throughout the week. And it's always actually better to put in your schedule which day you're going to be streaming which game, because your viewers will know when they want to come back for what game. You're obviously going to have the viewers that come back for you, and that's great. But there will always be people that want to come back when you play the game that they want to see, no matter how much they like you. The best thing for you to do is to find a focus and move towards that focus. Focal point. Whatever. Okay, this this one is one of those things like the panels that really just, it gets under my skin. It does. It really does. And I try not to let it get under my skin because I don't want to seem like gatekeepy, but it does. It gets under my skin. When people say that they are not doing anything different or doing anything to improve, or they refuse to accept advice because I just stream for fun, I just don't like that. I don't like that answer. It seems it's an excuse. It's a slap in the face. Now, hold on. I know that those of you that do just actually stream for fun are going to be in the comments dragging me. But if you just play games and you just turn on your camera to see who will come hang out because you're going to be playing that game anyway, and you never have any intention of growing, making a community, making money, becoming a partner, this doesn't apply to you. It doesn't. I'm talking about the people that have goals to grow and to actually become something on Twitch, to become a partner, to be one of the greats, to be well known. I'm talking to you. If you refuse to take advice or make any changes to better yourself or your stream, and your answer to everyone is always, well, I just stream for fun, you're doing yourself a disservice. Anybody that does Twitch full-time or as a career or wants to pursue it as a career knows that it's not always fun. It's not. There are some days where I am just like, I don't want to stream. Sometimes you just don't want to stream. It's not always fun. It's usually fun when you get started, but saying I just stream for fun as an excuse to make any improvements in yourself because you're defensive or because you really just don't want to put the work in, it's just a slap in the face and you're doing yourself a disservice. Your channel is not set up properly. This is the thing that bothers me. This is the one thing. If I go into someone's stream and I want to know about them, especially if they're offline, actually, if I want to know who they are, where they're from, what they like to play, and I look in their panels and there's nothing there, that tells me that you don't care about marketing yourself, because that's what streaming is. It's marketing yourself as a content creator, as a streamer, as a live performer. You have to market yourself, especially if you're offline and someone checks out your channel. They need to know who you are, what you do, where you're from, and the whole nine. So if you haven't put in the time to just even create like a few panels about me, schedule, even if you don't have one, saying I don't have one right now is still putting something up about your schedule. And I don't know, you know, maybe a donation panel if you want to start. Having it available is better than not having it at all. Just a little something for me to learn about you. If that's not set up, I'm almost guaranteed not to raid that person, not to stick around very long. I'll give them a chance. I mean, if their stream looks cool. But if I go to someone's stream and they're offline and they have no information, I will probably never go back there again. So number 9, you're streaming the... Have I been saying the numbers this whole time? I don't think so. Number 9, you're streaming the wrong things. Again, this is going to be one of those things that gets a lot of kickback. Wrong is relative. What's wrong for me is great for someone else. But when you're just starting off and you're trying to grow a community, especially if you don't have any other content anywhere else, like YouTube or whatever, you really need to stream in a category that's not so small that nobody can find you, but it's not so big that you're competing with hundreds of other streamers. Because if I go to a new stream and I want to find somebody who's interesting, I'm not going to scroll down 1,000 streamers to find you. I'm just not. Now, I don't really watch Fortnite, but if I did, I'm not going to scroll all the way down for someone who has 0 viewers. I'm just not going to do it. If you want to stream a category like Fortnite, like Apex, like League of Legends, you're going to have to work up 20 times harder to network, to integrate into other communities, to put out good content that other people can find on other platforms. You're going to have to do so much more work just to get found. You're going to want to stream something that is not super big, not super small. It changes all the time, but you're going to be looking at communities like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online, card games, ASMR, things that are smaller, a little bit more niche, but the communities are actually really great. You're going to want to stream into a category that has maybe like 10 rows instead of 500. And the last, and one of the most important ones as well, and it's actually very difficult to do this, you have no social media presence. I can't imagine streaming the 4 days a week that I do and then just disappearing off of the face of the earth when I go offline. I can't imagine that. No Discord, no Twitter, no Instagram, no YouTube, no Facebook, nothing. Just radio silence until I'm live again. It is nearly impossible for discoverability and for connecting with your audience if you do not have a social media presence. It's nearly impossible. Connecting with your audience on Twitch is really huge, but if you just don't interact with them when you're offline and when you're in a different element, or put out relative content that people can consume that is different from Twitch, the chances of you being discovered is so much less. It's just lessened. And it's the same thing, you're doing yourself a disservice. I hope that these 10 tips helped you. I am late to stream, but I mean, what's new? If you are a streamer and you're not already part of Twitch Streamers and Networking, you should definitely join our amazing community. I know networking has become kind of a dirty word, but Twitch Streamers and Networking is an incredible place to meet amazing, like-minded streamers, collab, learn, ask questions, and everything in between. Links are in the description if you're interested, and I will see you in the next video.